Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Business List, your source for stories inside the party, across the country, and around the world. My name is Amanda Griffiths, and I'm joined by Rose Leatherman, joined by Sarah Bella, who is here, and I'm not joined by Kyle Davis. He is just here. Everyone, how are you? Kyle, you're muted. I'm unmuting you now. How are you doing?
Alas. I was just thinking about
Kyle
Joe and
muted.
big gay hairy men.
That's interesting. Oh, there we go. Here's Joe.
Doesn't everyone? That's normal, right?
Very, very
That's
normal.
what I heard too, Joe.
All right. So we have a few things to get to. We were looking through stories. And do we want to start with LP or do we want to give people a minute, see if they want to come on?
Let's definitely give people a minute.
Okay. Kyle has invited someone maybe to come on as a special guest because that went so well last time we did that with Hector Ruse. To begin with, we have a story about Donald Trump nationalizing the steel industry because if you'll recall, Donald Trump is a Republican. That's what Republicans do. They nationalize things. This comes to us from Reason Magazine. Trump's controlling stake in U.S. Steel is indefensible socialist nonsense. Any decisions made by U.S. Steel's executives and shareholders will require approval from Trump, his appointees, or his successors. All right. So
the nationalization of steel is excellent for everyone.
Well, see,
successor. You did say successor.
it's different this time because Republicans are doing it, and Republicans love free markets. So therefore, yeah. When Obama took partial control of General Motors, that was evil socialism. But when Trump is doing it, it's just patriotic. He's just trying to make America great again.
yes,
It's American steel now. Real American steel.
Well,
I mean, except
G.I. Joe. Sorry.
It's golden steel. Trump's like golden thing, likes golden things. I can't use grammar tonight, apparently. So he needs to provide written consent before U.S. Steel be allowed to change its name, relocate its headquarters, reduce or alter any planned capital investments, close, idle, or sell its existing plants, or attempts to acquire any part of a competing business. Good people, Donald Trump has seized the means of production for the people. What are your thoughts?
For the shareholders.
That's terrifying because if that's true, the shareholders are the government, which is the thing we've known all along.
Yes.
But stating it directly is horrifying.
So the irony here is that we actually made money on the auto bailouts. Not saying that we should be in the habit of doing
Starfield.
that, but do you trust Donald Trump to make these deals? No.
Oh. Also, no.
I mean, what's the art of the deal? It's bluff and retreat, bluff and retreat, bluff and retreat.
What's funny is that the New Republic seems to be developing a strange new respect for Donald Trump in this process, writes, this leftish maneuver, one might even call it socialist, and we do, represents a promising new experiment in regulatory policy, writes Timothy Noah at the New Republic. Again, so it's a use of these golden shares. It's taking over private businesses. Look, this is what we mean when we talk about state capitalism and state socialism being two ugly sides, or rather, two different sides of the same ugly coin, right? And they're both weighted unfairly. So this is another instance of, there's not much different. In the end, you have cronyism. In the end, you have the government picking winners and losers. Why steal? I mean, it's not even that this is a particularly innovative industry here.
Well, because it's a... Go ahead.
The Gilded Age industry. Well, I was just going to say it's a Gilded Age industry. I mean, are we going backwards into the time warp here?
It seems that way.
Because I think you could make the argument that because this is a vital resource that is necessary for all sorts of manufacturing down the line, therefore we just can't leave it to the chaos of the market. At least that would be, if, suppose for a moment I was a state capitalist / state socialist / fascist, that's the argument I would make to the people to justify why I needed to take control of the steel industry.
Rose, you are a state socialist now, aren't you? I mean, you're in New York. I heard everyone there has become a socialist now.
Hey, anarchist socialist.
Well, but
Mm,
Didn't you see
He's
the
not-
headlines?
he wants to ban all guns. Okay, he doesn't believe that the rights of the working class to own guns shall not be or yeah, what's the quote I'm looking for here?
shall be
Um,
infringed. They will infringe the rights of the working
Yes.
class to own guns. I have it on good authority that the people
It's
must
a
be armed.
stated goal.
Yep. Here's what
The
I
only
don't
thing
get.
I could take away from him is
Under
that
no pretext was the quote I was looking for. Yeah,
is,
so he's not a
here's
real leftist.
no, he's a foodie. So the first two videos I saw of him were two
It's
conflicting videos about food. So the first one was, hey, let's deregulate the food trucks because halal is $10, $12 when it should be 7 or 8. And the
Right.
very next video I saw from him was, hey, let's socialize the grocery stores.
That could not end badly at
Cue
all.
the
If we,
breadline memes, right?
Here's
Like,
what
the
could possibly
problem-
go wrong with
Wait.
having the state?
He wants
regulate.
$7 halal and a
Yeah.
$30 minimum wage.
Yeah.
And where are they going to get the ingredients for the halal food if the grocery stores are socialized?
Lab-grown
Well, you
meat.
nationalize the food
Well, it's a
industry,
difference of white
obviously.
and
You
the
need
difference of
people's
white
farms. Yes. Yeah, there are so many ways this could go badly, but here's the thing. Okay, I don't think he's actually gonna win. I mean,
You don't.
okay.
Justin.
Okay, so Cuomo was this guy who was being heavily celebrated by the media all throughout the COVID era. I cannot express in words how much I
Not
hate
me.
that guy.
I was in New York. No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I cannot, like, his voice fills me with this rage I can't describe because I get flashbacks of having to listen to him every morning to find out if
During
I was allowed to
COVID.
leave my house that day. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like setting up to like run a presidential campaign, and then all of a sudden he just had to suddenly resign over a sexual abuse scandal, which I've said this before, but pretty much every politician is guilty of that. It's only a problem when someone wants it to be a problem. Like, he was clearly blackballed from the political establishment by
Mhm.
somebody higher up. So I don't know who he pissed off, but
Well, he
yeah.
I know
the
that
voters.
Joe
I mean-
Hanoush is very clearly pulling for Rudy Giuliani here. Right.
Yeah, I think this guy was allowed to win the primary, and then the Republican is going to be the one that is allowed to win.
You really think
Or
so? You think they're going to do that?
If Mamdani is able to win, somebody wanted him to win because somebody is allowing this to happen. For example, oh, well, he wants to institute a rent freeze, but this is not going to solve the issue of skyrocketing utilities costs and property taxes. What's going to happen is the landlords that still are renting units out, being unable to rent their units out at a loss, they're going to have to sell those buildings. What's going to happen? You're going to have giant politically connected hedge funds such as BlackRock swoop in and buy up all the housing, which is precisely what they want. They want to own everything. So if he's allowed to win, it's because he's basically he's a plant by the neo-feudalists. He may himself be a true believer who's well-intentioned, but he's a useful idiot at best.
Well, and the great thing is that when that happens, people can blame capitalism because BlackRock equals capitalism. We all know that capitalism is when BlackRock. These are the kinds of things that, though, if and when they do happen, need to be pointed out by people watching this show and people on this show, because you see it. We know what's going to happen. We can give the playbook, and so we need to be on it when we're seeing these inflating costs, the degradation in the cost, degradation in the quality of living, and just point out exactly the progression of why this happened. It's critical. But yeah, no, let's see, who was it? What?
Phil's response. Everyone thought government cheese was bad. Think of government halal.
Oh my gosh. You ruined it for me. You ruined it for me.
Are they gonna regulate the
like
like
government
chicken tikka stands? Can they do
that
Indian
halal?
food properly?
No,
I have no
don't think
idea.
It won't be once the government touches it.
They want to deregulate.
I don't think you're allowed to mix anything with pigs, right?
Nope. But
The permits for $17,000 to $20,000 each, kind of like the old taxi cab, hack license.
That's what I was gonna say. Can we get the crony taxi cab? Can we end the dominion of taxi cab cronies, or did they get a pass because they're unionized? I guess they get a pass.
I mean, it took Uber
As long
and
as you have
Lyft
your
and
Texas one.
rideshare to finally, knock over that racket. So
Right.
and the government fought that tooth and nail too. But in defense of people, who also don't like Uber, Uber wanted to deregulate only certain things as corporations want to do.
Right.
It's not like corporations are beyond using state power against each other, because they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you have a state regulatory apparatus and corporations, or rather, well, businesses know that they're likely going to be subject to regulation, they'll want to get their foot in the door first and have the regulations written in a way that will benefit them, because
Yes.
otherwise they're going to be the ones close out of the market, or they will lobby, or they will decide, like, even if they're in a relatively unregulated sector of the market, they'll decide, hey, you know what? We worked really hard for what we have. Why should some amateur be able to form their own business and do what I took 30 years to accomplish? Okay, what if they do it wrong? Clearly, we need the government to regulate this. This is
That's
about
why I support
safety.
AI
Can you
Steel.
put Justin's
It's-
comment up? Because that's actually a correction that is 1,000%
Okay, yes.
accurate.
Well,
Thank you.
Joe Hanush
Just
says,
stop
I
it.
want lamb on every corner. I'm sorry, but you're
Very
not going
good.
to be allowed to have lamb on every corner. Yeah, that's bad for your carbon footprint. So it's going to have to be this. It's going to have to be soy, but it will be totally just like the right thing. Okay, the state promises.
So
State-owned soybean.
Greatest people.
Justin asked, by the way, he wanted us to admit that his wife is hot. I'll tell you this right now, guys, and Kyle already knows this. I think he is hot. I think that Zoran is hot. Yes. But we already knew that I had a thing for socialists. So
She likes when the face is pepperoni shaped.
Does he look like Trotsky?
he does not look like Trotsky. That's funny in a lot of ways. No, he does not look like Trotsky. But I'm sure they'd be very good friends.
Does he look like the hot Stalin picture?
He is hotter than Hot Stalin
Okay.
because he's
He is
real,
not
whereas
hotter
the
than
Hot
Hot
Stalin
Stalin.
Hot Stalin is not real. Hot Stalin is a figment
Yeah, that was heavily edited.
of the
but
Reddit bros imagination. And I'm just happy that now the Reddit bros have a real hot guy to ooh and ah over. Although he's an American socialist, so he's not a real socialist for the Reddit Marxists, apparently. We'll see.
Let's see here.
No, it's more fun, Phil, when we each try to fix each other. That's the really fun part.
Isn't that what we're here
There you
for,
go.
ultimately?
Here's a perfect picture of him. Definitely not chosen to make him look worse than he does normally.
It's definitely chosen to make him look worse, and yet he's still smiling. Hello, Terry.
He looks like Will Wheaton. That's all I'm saying.
Look,
I mean, if we could just get him reading Rothbard or something. But if we could get him to come on our show.
we can become on a show.
He wants people to think he's libertarian. I mean, he's talking about
He
things like permitting and zoning.
Yeah.
He has
Which are
here's
really
the
wonky
thing.
libertarian topics, but
Here's the
Guys.
thing. The left has the right idea. They're mad at the right people, but for the wrong reasons. And
They're mad at
therefore there's
half of the right people.
okay.
Yes.
Their
Well,
solutions.
The radical left is mad at all the right people. Yes.
They're angry about the right things, but their solutions suck because they
Yeah.
get their cause and effect switched around. They
Yeah.
blame the market for things that the state is doing, so therefore they think that the state is the solution, when in actuality the market is the solution. It's frustrating.
Jeremy, Hot Stalin is in fact a verb because that's something you should do.
Is that like hot wifing, hot Stalin?
no, I thought Trotsky was what you were supposed to do.
Trotskying is what you do with Hot Stalin.
Oh, the equestrian jokes for days.
I'm sorry. I have a lot of things going through my head right now, and I'm trying to figure out if any of them are appropriate. Chat, should we invite Zoran on? Should we invite him on and see if he wants to come on? We can try and swing that. We'll see. I don't know. He pretends to be a libertarian, and I think that's great for him.
And because we've got a communist background, he might actually think that we're good enough for him.
I mean, I think so. I think we got red and black.
Also have a red communist background. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a leather jacket, which screams commie. Well, What?
Just one. We collectively have a leather jacket.
Exactly. See, I'm doing
I
it
know,
already.
but that's too high.
Collective clothing ownership.
Right, it's the traveling leather jacket. The chair of the
Yes.
Libertarian Party also borrows it.
This
When he
Stephen
has
and
to
I
appear,
wear the same
when he
leather
has to
jacket.
appeal at LNC meetings, he wears the same leather jacket.
It's literally the same. We wear the same size exactly.
Yep.
He
I
doesn't
think
want
you
you
should
to know
get the
that.
same haircut.
I've tried to convince him to do that, and
No,
we're working on
look,
it.
with no attack on Steven here, if one of you has to match the other one's haircut, there's only one direction this can go. Because he's not putting it back.
That's true.
He could get plugs. All right. I'm trying to redirect us drastically here. No, so this takeover of U.S. Steel. Here's the issue, and I mean, I think Sarah nailed it. Where there's this desire to go back to this Gilded Age, right? We're going to be the leader in commodity manufacturing. Why? Why on earth? That's not even the most.
Because we were good at it.
We were good at it when it was lucrative. When there weren't then things to build with that steel. Because if we are wasting manpower, if we're wasting labor power and energy on steel manufacturing, then, and especially if we're cutting down on immigration, then we have less labor power and energy to spend on manufacturing things from that steel, right? And building things from that steel and getting into more innovative
optics. I think it's optics. We do the same thing with fiat currency. What decides the value of fiat currency? We do.
Look, I'm just saying,
the same thing.
If we can run a presidential ticket in 2028 of Vermin Supreme and Starfield, we can get a free pony and cheese and peanut butter.
I will feed the cheese and peanut butter to my pony.
That cannot be good
I
for the
never
pony.
liked the peanut butter. I always found it too dry.
You need better peanut butter.
I didn't
From the
like
government peanut butter.
Ponies do like peanut butter. They don't usually like cheese. Some do.
You'd have to treat the pony like you treat babies and slap them with a slice of American cheese.
Is American cheese
never done
really
that
cheese?
To my baby.
They
Yes.
did. I did grow up with the the non-fat craft singles that just taste like plastic and sadness. I think it's honestly just a piece of yellow plastic. This is what baby Amanda grew up with, and powdered skim milk. So there was that.
So wait, like generic, like off-brand craft singles?
So,
right.
What craft singles are is emulsifiers added to cheddar and Colby that are actually melted to 170 degrees, and the emulsifiers are what keeps them like soft all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The reason it doesn't actually qualify for being considered cheese from the government is because the government requires you to have at least 51% cheese curds in your product, and they are 50%. They are 1% too low because of things. They have additives like annatto and sodium in there, and then they dry out the water and everything. So they end up just under the legal limit.
The legal limit for curds.
For curds.
Great.
Yeah, that is the reason it's not cheese legally. We have a similar thing in the U.S. with ice cream. In fact, like McDonald's cannot call what they sell ice cream because there's not enough milk fat in it. Dairy Queen's got the same problem.
I thought that was an urban legend, and that
No,
it's true. Dairy dessert.
Does the McDonald's machine then only work for ice cream? And because they call it the ice cream machines, maybe this is why the machines are always broken. Is because they only work for ice cream, but McDonald's doesn't make ice cream.
No, I actually know why the ice cream machines are broken. Is because of the right to repair laws.
Yes, yeah. I was hoping someone would mention this. Yes, you can tell us, Sarah, because this is a perfect example. People say it's capitalism that's the problem. It's not. It's regulation that's the problem. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's IP law, which that's its own can of worms, I think.
Yes, libertarians
I could rant about IP law because there are way too many libertarians or people who call themselves libertarians who still defend IP law.
See, I defend IP law, but I think it's been abused. Like I defend the principle of IP law, but I think it is wildly abused.
I think don't steal people's art and or like other work, but also you should not be able to like declare a monopoly on an idea. It's morality versus legality. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like you can't declare a monopoly on a chocolate chip cookie, but you can innovate the recipe every time, right? So it's a new cookie, and therefore it's not a chocolate chip cookie with nuts is not breaking someone's monopoly on the idea
I
of
mean,
the chocolate
if I
cookie.
copied your exact idea and said that I created it, I'd be an asshole, but I would have the right to do it, but people would have the right to say, hey, you're an asshole. I'm not going to buy cookies from you because
The
you stole Amanda's idea. However, I
problem-
should not be prevented by force from copying your
The-
idea.
For the
Like,
record, that's going to be Amanda's second project for music, is the legal limit of cheese.
Yeah, thank you. The issue, though, is that, so again, you could very easily drown out the fact that this was my idea, right? This happens in academia all the time, and it's really sad. You hear stories of this. I know people too, and this has happened, where a student gives a paper for a seminar, and the professor just publishes that
Yoinks
paper.
it.
Yeah, and the student has absolutely no ability to do anything about it. And like, even if they try to say, well, here are the, here's the document footprint or whatever, they just don't have enough of a voice for that even to get out. So that's the issue that I have with it. But I don't think that people should, I don't think I should say that because I have Agit Pop, Inoffensive Marxism, the parody album about the Russian Revolution, nobody else can write parody songs about the Russian Revolution. That's not a good application of IP at all. Rose is so
For those who want to listen to that, there you go.
My
scan it.
issue with IP is actually in the pharmaceutical industry,
Mm-hmm.
where corporations will change a molecule and then start that patent all over again. But of course, the market solution is easy, is you just get the word out that, well, let me see, Nexium is the next drug from Prilosec, right? So like, if you know that it's essentially the same drug, and of course, this is why most people go to generics.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that I think is another huge abuse of IP law.
Right.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at insulin.
I think that
like,
Sarah just tried to
insulin
get
is
us a
cheap.
sponsorship there.
Insulin's cheap,
Take
but
Prilosec.
they keep
Hey,
Eat
couple-
Prilosec!
We're directing
It was-
Rose.
It was
couple
a last known
countries or a
project,
couple
okay?
companies have like a monopoly on the delivery mechanism, which they keep tweaking every time their patent's about to expire.
Mhm.
Right.
So they're able to have a monopoly on something that should be extremely cheap to produce.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
bet Phil knows. But does mRNA make that easier to do?
Make it easier to do which?
To change delivery systems to get a new patent.
It should, because you can change it more rapidly.
And that's
Ain't no sugar
and
pill.
more quickly. Yeah. We have, speaking of not changing
Eat
things.
Prilosec.
Do you have reflux or
I'm
something?
not
It's just
shilling.
No.
I'm not
Kyle's
shilling
giving-
pharmaceutical, I swear.
you really don't want to alter your stomach pH. You're creating the perfect environment for bacteria if you keep neutralizing the acid in your stomach.
Another wonderful
That's the idea.
environment for bacteria is Congress.
Oh, so
And
you want to breed super bugs, and then you'll be a
Trying
walking
to
bioweapon?
do a segue.
Okay.
Walking bioweapon of Donald Trump's presidency.
That's her third album.
Was I'm so tired.
I'm glad you did this all
I'm
once.
operating on like 3 hours of sleep.
Congress is a breeding ground for all sorts of things, but action is not one of them. So a bipartisan House voted to table an impeachment effort by Representative Al Green, Democrat from Texas, on Tuesday, which is, and this comes from Washington Examiner, a blow to the Democrats'
Hold on,
efforts.
hold on.
What? Yes, hi.
Sai has asked that I lower my voice by 40 octaves. He doesn't understand the difference in octaves and decibels, so he's got to be made fun of for this one.
People
And
don't
he calls
understand a
himself the
news show from a
scientific
talk show. All right. There have been a number of impeachment articles drawn up against Donald Trump over the past few months, but on Tuesday, the House voted 344 to 79 against the articles of impeachment that were drawn up by Al Green, that is a Texas Democrat. Interestingly, 128 Democrats joined the Republicans in this impeachment effort, which had to do with the strikes on Iran. Those were the pretenses for the articles of impeachment. So a lot of Democrats voted with Republicans against these articles. What does that tell us, children?
Republicans have always been
He
cowards.
could shoot someone in the middle of 4th Avenue and nothing will happen. That's what it means.
Well,
It means that, as we found out during this previous election, the Democrats are cowards. Their bloodline is
Usually
weak, and their name will
they
be
will-
forgotten.
But with
Yeah.
Trump in office, normally the Democrats, like, this is their turn to pretend that they're the anti-war
Exactly.
party.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is actually that was unexpected. I figured that they would make a
I was
symbolic
expecting it.
gesture, because a lot of them are saying,
They're
"Hey,
scared
this
to death
required."
of him.
Right. Like,
They're
a lot of
scared
them
to
were
death
saying,
of
like,
him.
"Oh, go ahead."
I mean, I think my thinking was that Democrats benefit from Donald Trump's presidency because Donald Trump looks so awful, and they can just keep on lambasting him. But you're correct that the effort would fail anyhow. So a symbolic gesture would theoretically be strategic for them. So I don't really understand. I mean, certainly they don't mean to signal their support for Iranian airstrikes, blessed by Donald Trump, unless they do. I do find it odd that they voted so much in support with the Republicans. Other thoughts on what this is about?
Fear. Just fear.
Fear.
Just fear. Yep. I think it's just fear. I think a lot of this is running on just fear.
Right.
You know, that's the other thing about the faith in fiat currency. It's not just faith in fiat currency. It's people being acutely aware of the consequences if we lose faith in fiat currency. And I think the same thing happens with pretty much any president. I was just watching a video that came across my feed on Twitter yesterday of a young, fresh-faced Tucker Carlson interviewing a young, fresh-faced Britney Spears and saying, "Do you trust this president?" Of course, meaning W. And she says, "Oh, yes, of course I trust this president." Sometimes the faith is the point. And that's especially so when you're dealing with a lot of faith-based voters that voted for him because they thought that, you know, he's their savior. He's the Christian nationalist savior. And now they're upset that, you know, that peace, that utopia didn't come about. How are you surprised by this?
I do wonder if it has to do with Al Green being the one who drew up the articles of impeachment. I have no idea. I mean, a lot of it does come down to, you know, with whom do we want to affiliate and why? But I just find it odd that there was a vote against articles of impeachment. It could be that there's polling that suggests that people are tired of everyone trying to impeach everyone for everything, to which I'm sympathetic, but I do think that Donald Trump should be removed from office, so there is that. Of course,
Well,
if he
they
were...
wasted the first two impeachment attempts, okay? This is, like, actually the correct reason to impeach a president, okay? You don't bomb a sovereign nation without Congress officially voting on whether we want to go to war or not.
Yeah, but Congress doesn't want to vote on that. Or this is very unpopular. That's the thing.
Of course not,
Congress
but that's the thing. Going to war should not be easy. It should be unpopular. Okay, the whole idea that we can, it's not technically war if we just carry out some targeted strikes if there's an imminent threat against Israel, which is totally the same as an imminent threat against the U.S. But
they're our closest ally.
This is
did we declare in Iraq or Afghanistan? I don't believe we did. I mean, when was the last time Congress actually declared war? Was it World War II?
It was Iraq.
For Iraq, we did.
Combat operations. But we never.
I remember watching I'm like, why are the Democrats not doing anything to stop us? Because I actually I was going through my, well, at least Democrats are better than Republicans phase at the time. I was a teenager. Okay, bear with me. Yeah, and the Democrats did pretty much nothing to stop it. But yeah, they at least did have a formal declaration of war. All the subsequent wars were technically not wars because of all the loopholes created by various other bills and authorizations.
Right. We were reading directly from the article, so there is that. That's the funny part. So it is, it's, I don't know. If somebody else draws up articles of impeachment, then perhaps this goes through again. It may be that the American people do not have a taste for impeachment proceedings at this time, which is understandable. And if that's the case, then I applaud Democrats for realizing what the American people do and don't have a taste for, because they seem to be very, very bad at that, generally speaking, understanding what people want, and instead trying to strong-arm in further things. Speaking of strong-arming things in, the Colorado Libertarian Party has tried to strong-arm members out of a convention. I am trying so hard with these
Your segues have been on par with freaking the personal transit scooters at this point. Like,
Don't we usually call on her to run the meetings?
You do, and the meetings run very, very well. So
There's some kind of shift there that happens.
Speaking of things
like 9:25
being run
and
well,
the show's over at 9:30.
the Libertarian Party of Colorado is not running conventions well. They have you want to try? They have reported that the convention was missed.
My oof was about Colorado, not you.
Oh, well, that's fair. They have misnoticed the convention, the Colorado.
The second time this year.
Give them some. Okay. Be patient with them. They're very busy posting memes and offending people. Okay, that takes work.
Those happy merchant memes are not going to post
triggering those woke leftists takes work. Okay.
I know that Hannah Goodman can't read it all, and Jim Wiley can't read calendars. So, like, I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I'm just disappointed. Disappointed.
It's interesting, though. The story that they're getting is that the convention was not noticed in an appropriate publication, if I am correct. So they reported on it in Third Party Watch. Apparently, this doesn't count as a what was the phrasing? A newspaper of popular wide circulation. Wide circulation. So now they're saying it wasn't properly noticed, so the convention is void. However, there still will be a convention on Saturday. Hannah Goodman plans to go gavel it in and declare the convention void, which makes me wonder if that's what's going to happen. Because if you gavel in a convention, you have a convention.
So if someone happened to make a motion to vote on something anyway,
the decision of the chair.
No, look, they gave everyone notice 4 days in advance. That's twice as long as yours. That's literally the square of how long you're saying.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's clearly plenty of time to cancel your hotel room, cancel your reservations, cancel your cars, everything else. No big deal.
Right. I mean,
there's definitely no violated fiduciary duty that could potentially lead to a lawsuit of the entire board of Colorado here that I definitely wouldn't donate to.
Until the usual 7-day window to cancel your hotel reservation in order to get a refund thing. And they definitely weren't trying to make it so that people won't be able to book a second hotel room and request time off of work and blah, 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 if they want to show up to the rescheduled one.
That's the question, is what to make of this, right? Because this has been a very consistent Mises strategy. And this is something that when we're working on bylaws, we need to figure out a way. And Rose actually had some good suggestions for this. We need to figure out a way to make this not happen anymore, because this is a consistent Mises strategy. Improperly notice the convention. If it goes well for you, fantastic, mazel tov. You don't talk about how the convention was improperly noticed. You're in charge. If it doesn't go well for you, then you say, but the convention was improperly noticed. This is
published in
void.
This paper newsletter that people don't read in the year 2025 because everything's electronic now. But technically, it's still in our bylaws and very convenient when we need it.
The legal limit of cheese curds and readership. You
have to have at least 100,000 cheese curds in your newspaper for it to count.
Indeed. Well, in Wisconsin, that's certainly true. What do we make of this?
Crackers love cheese?
Fair enough. What is going on here? What was Colorado not looking good for the Mises Caucus? I thought this was a Mises stronghold.
So
they're afraid of something.
Look, it's like no matter how devoted you are to a concept or a group or anything, when people like Hannah Goodman are the leader of your group, at some point you realize that's a bad plan. It's that simple. When someone keeps walking around saying, I got big mayor energy, it doesn't mean anything. And eventually you realize that. And that's what's happening in Colorado. Simple.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if you can't properly notice your convention, you are probably not fit to be in an officer position within that party. So maybe there needs to be an automatic, either at the very least, some kind of sanction, or maybe you just need to be removed from your position. Okay,
so
clearly,
I was going to say this earlier.
Deliberate or not, you didn't. Yeah.
Why don't we have a distaste, or why do we rather have a distaste for impeachment? And a lot of European countries, when their leaders fail, there are recall efforts. in California, when a leader fails, when I moved to California, they just recalled Gray Davis. Okay, what is it with Americans where they see these politicians that fail? They're 3 years left in their term, and they go, "I don't want to do anything about that. Let them finish their term."
This is a good point.
If you can sustain a recall, that's democracy.
It's a good point, and I think, on the one hand, impeachment rarely actually leads to anything, so that's part of the problem. If people have a distaste for impeachment, I mean, like, I'm with you. I'd love to see
even Nixon resign.
Yeah. It's very, very difficult to get anyone actually removed from office. So it seems like a waste of time. It seems like posturing to a lot of people, but
I think we need to change that. I think that's exactly what I'm saying. I think we have these laws in the books that are just for window dressing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Steelman is that. Is that impeachment could be weaponized if it were too easy, right? Like an opposition party could just get a certain number of votes and then impeach whomever because they felt like it. But I agree with you. I mean, Congress doesn't do much. It kicks ever you can. It can possibly find down the road to the bureaucrats for the bureaucrats to regulate the can, and then they make more cans to get down the road. In terms of impeachment, that's one of the few things that gets Congress people publicity, and then it gets them onto shows. It gets them speaking tours. I think that's part of the distaste. I don't have a distaste for the principle of impeachment. I do think that there should be more of a popular recall mechanism for the president, but I'm a dirty, rotten Democrat in terms of like democratic philosophy. So I do think that there should be easier ways for the people to remove their leaders from power. That's me.
Yeah, and I agree. But again, I think this is also an optics issue. I mean, we have a society that is not based on accountability in the first place. So, I mean, that's, again, from a political psychology perspective, we need to look at that. We often say that good ideas don't require force, but this is not an idea that we've been putting forward, and maybe it's one that we should. In fact, maybe it's even one that we could make a pillar, or a plank in the platform. I mean, this is it's right up there with jury nullification in terms of democratic principles. So we talk about that all the time. So I don't understand why we are not doing more on, I guess, what you could call alternative political strategies.
Yeah, I mean, popular recall is definitely a favorite of mine. That's a more radical thing to add to the platform, but that's not a reason not to do it.
Agreed.
Now we have...
that is something we need to address, I think, as a culture, as a society.
Right. Kyle, what do you think of popular recall? Because if that were possible, we would popularly recall you from this show.
Yeah, I believe the Second Amendment, so it's not important.
If you're doing them a favor.
The comments section right now, okay? Everyone, should we recall Kyle?
See, now they're going to come. They're going to come for others and not Kyle. Kyle is going to be preserved, and the rest of us are going to be ousted. We're going to be...
What have I created?
We're going to be kicked out.
Fixed.
All new law. Oh.
Democracy is bad, you guys.
Terrible. That's awful. Yeah. So what's the plan for Colorado?
I mean,
can this be appealed? Like, I don't think it can, because technically they're not violating their bylaws. They're technically following their bylaws, but we need to close these loopholes that allow people to exploit technicalities to either cancel a planned convention days before it happens, or to overturn the results of a convention if they don't like what happened. Again, like I think there need to be kind of like, okay, you want to be an affiliate of the national party. Here are some standards for holding your convention. If you can't properly notice your convention, look, this is important because it affects things like who's going to be the chair of your party, who are going to be, what type of delegates are going to get sent to vote on the libertarian presidential candidate. Like, you can make the argument that, yeah, this does affect the national party, and therefore there need to be at least some type of standards. So yeah, I would say, like, okay, if someone can't notice a convention properly, that's a very simple thing to do. They are probably unfit to be in an officer position within their state party. So maybe there needs to be either a recall vote, or some type of sanction otherwise that would remove the incentive to accidentally not notice your convention properly.
I also think I would like to see consistent standards for noticing. I understand that that is a sticky issue, but it would avoid a lot of these difficulties where notice can be weaponized in this way. But indeed, it's not entirely clear whether the convention was not properly noticed. And for that reason, if a chair gavels in a convention, there's a convention. The chair can say the convention has not been properly noticed and is therefore invalid. But the decision of the chair can be overturned by the attendees at that convention. And the convention can go on. And the people who overturn that decision can elect whatever board they like.
Yes.
Nothing happens if they can't bring it to a vote.
So there's a bunch of things there where it'd have to go to Secretary of State and potentially to the LNC and all kinds of weird things. But at the end of the day, we have seen this play out before. This is effectively the Michigan scenario, but kind of in reverse. There is a convention that may or may not be properly noticed. It doesn't matter. So people still have to show up in case there's voting. It's that simple. So what the chair is doing here is violating her fiduciary duties by arming the party, but then also violating the members' wallets, violating the trust of the members, and the members have to show up this weekend just in case some nonsense happens. And then, more than likely, they'll have to show up in November too, and vote in 2 separate conventions, and be embroiled in all kinds of bullshit.
Right, and who can afford to do that? Who can afford to book 2 hotel rooms and take time off of work? They likely have to request in advance. If they work some soulless corporate job, they probably have, maybe like 10 days paid time off per year? Yeah.
And maybe they won't remove their leader because it was intentional. That sounds to me like a very good way to get your people to the convention.
Yes, it sounds like someone knew that they might lose, and so they wanted to get all the people that they didn't want to not come, and the people that they did want to show up, overturn the decision of the chair and elect the board of their choice. Mm-hmm. Which means that can be weaponized in the alternate direction as well.
Well, that's the problem, though. Like, this is just going to become how things are done from now on. Okay, the previous leadership did this, so
we're even watching
MAGA. Do it. Like, it's so easy to rationalize it when, hey, they did it, so okay, we'll play their game and we'll win. And yeah, exactly. Like, it's why I took such issue at the DC convention with the whole, even when I was still Mises at the time and didn't fully understand the story behind the disputed delegates, I'm like, this is not a precedent we want to set, where the convention can just throw out one state's delegates. Because, again, once you set the precedent that something can be done, it will be weaponized down the line, and it will come back to bite you. This is what but so many people don't. Yeah, so many people just have extremely high time preference.
There's a phrase, if you watch CGP Gray's videos, where he points out politically that shenanigans beget shenanigans. As soon as a gentleman's rule is broken in politics, there's no putting the evils back in Pandora's box. That is the new standard. Right.
No, I don't think that's a new standard. I think that's always been the standard. I think people just used to be quieter.
No. After it's broken, you now have a new standard from before it was broken.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, agreed.
Yes.
Which has always been a problem.
So
if you don't abide by the rules, why should I abide by the rules?
Exactly. So for any of our listeners who are in Colorado, you've got to still show up to Holyoke this weekend. It's ridiculous. It's all the way up there by Nebraska. No one wants to be in Nebraska. I'm sorry, Nebraska. It's you're literally, Holyoke is all the way up there where you're getting cuddled by Nebraska. No one wants that, but you have to go there for the fight for liberty. There's a major thing here, and people have been fighting for the party back. And I mean, we know what this is. We know that Hannah Goodman and Jim Wiley are going out of their way to try to subvert the will of the people. They don't want to lose their position of power, And so they are trying to use the parliamentarian they've been working with to subvert the rules and keep a real election from happening. The only way to do that is to make sure that these motherfuckers' wallets get punished. Because until there's real stakes on the line, they'll keep playing this game. What they're doing is a fiduciary breach and is thereby suable. Take their ass to court. Blow them up. Hannah doesn't have any money. Jim doesn't have any money. As soon as it becomes an actual thing where there's 15 members who have brought a derivative suit against them for breaking their fiduciary duty, not once, but twice, while laughing about it and everything else, it'll stop. We do not play this game. It's a violation of the NAP to do this to people. It's destroying your money. It's destroying your time. It's destroying your will. So your property's damaged. And the response to that is one where either you believe in the government, you get the government involved, or you don't believe in getting the government involved, and then I'm not telling you what to do there. In my opinion, the way to go about this is that this should go before a court, and people should be trying to get their money back and their time back and the value back that has been lost from Hannah Goodman. Like Ken Molman just said, it's all fun and games till someone loses their house. If they're going to fuck around with these things, they need to find out. I know that people are like, well, we can't do that. That's a fellow libertarian. No. If someone is stealing money from you, it does not matter if there's an L beside their name.
That's what's so annoying. Like the whole, you really want to send the state? Okay, look, yeah. And in our ideal society, we would not have to rely on the state. We would have private arbitration firms. However, look, we're kind of stuck with having to use the state's shitty justice system. But, okay, contractual agreements are like the bedrock of our philosophy. This idea that, you can't try to control other people. What are you, some kind of authoritarian? No, you signed a contract. You agreed to abide by these standards. You should be held to them. Okay, how someone behaves, like you can tell a lot about a person by whether or not they stick to their contractual agreements. If someone has shown that they'll just happily, they'll sign a contract and then just say, you know what are you gonna do? I don't have to obey the terms of this contract. Like they're showing you exactly who they are.
Exactly.
Like, again, like the entire Libertarian Party, it's kind of a microcosm of an actual governing apparatus. Like how someone behaves in a position of influence within this party is a very strong predictor of how they're going to act with actual political power. So, yeah, again,
so that's,
I frequently
again,
hear, why are you trying to control people? Why are you trying to regulate their speech? Why are you trying to dictate what they do? Okay, no, they agreed to be part of this party. They signed an affiliate agreement. They need to be held to this, or they should not be allowed to sit at our table.
To be very
clear, with the cool kids if they can't stick to a contractual agreement.
Go to the convention, overturn the decision of the chair, have your convention, vote for your slates, and then pursue legal action. The first thing that you do, though, is you go to the convention, you overturn the decision of the chair because they're counting on you not to.
Yeah.
That's how
they're playing
win.
chicken with you. It's
I mean, they just watched McCardle do it with the party, and anyone who would have used to recover the money that she embezzled was embezzled.
That's the thing. These jokers are going to continue fucking around with all of us until some of them start losing their houses. And so, go to Hollyoak this weekend. Put your vote in. Make it very clear you're not going to deal with this bullshit. And even if there has to be another convention, she's boned on fiduciary duty status. And so, derivative suit against that board, and that board will never do anything with that party again.
And let us know how it goes.
Stop letting them do this.
Let us know how it goes. Come on the show, and we'll talk about how it went down. Because we expect some hustle. We expect some spiciness.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a convention that wasn't a convention recap stream, and then we'll do a real convention recap stream. Assuming a convention happens, they don't just keep canceling and postponing.
They can have the convention. They can overturn the decision of the chair. That's what we're saying. Go there.
Right? Yeah. No, I know. So yeah, we'll do a convention that may or may not have been a convention.
The convention. Yes.
Convention. Yes.
The Colorado Convention. This is a convention that was put in the middle of nowhere in northwest Colorado moved because of the fact, allegedly as per the chair, because the chair was very ugly publicly using slurs, and the venue was like, we're not willing to work with this person. Violation of fiduciary duty, because you can't do that as a chair. And so her response was to put it in her town, next to her house. And now, because that's where she's from Holyoke. And so it's 8 minutes from her. And now it's not going to happen again because they accidentally blew notice on it. Go back through our videos. We specifically, the one time where Jim Wiley was in the chat, pointed out that they better not miss notice on these newspapers because we know it's in the bylaws. We knew that 6 months ago.
We also invited Jim Wiley to be on the show this evening, but we did give a time. And because Jim Wiley does not know how to tell time, we're now realizing that, of course, he wouldn't know how to
did
show
you
up.
like send him multiple reminders and alarms that would go off?
I didn't notice it in the newspaper, and that was the problem.
Yeah, it was improperly noticed.
Okay.
So actually, if he showed up now, his appearance would be void.
Yep, we'd have to...
You have to retroactively overturn whatever he said on this show.
I'd have to drag him out with my bare hands.
With her bare hands. Ridiculous.
I'm apparently so terrible with transitions, Kyle. So would you like to do a transition to our next segment?
What are we talking about?
We're talking about you living your authentic self.
Yeah.
Speaking of authenticity and living, gosh, this is terrible. See, I can't. It's going to be fine. When you guys said jokers, I had one lined up, and then we went on. Jokers work for kids.
Amanda, I'm a joker. I'm a smoker. I'm a midnight toker. What do you think about that?
You're a thorn in my side. Jokers work for kings, and we do not want kings. There is a no kings protest.
King bad. Joker
Jester,
good.
not Joker, Jester.
Jokers also work for kings and then get killed for not being good enough jesters. I was getting to that. On the 4th and the 17th of July, there are 2 more No Kings protests. We have been promoting libertarian attendance there, and we told you for the past couple streams that we would have language for you to use. This is important because currently the No Kings movement does not have a coherent ideology. It's good for us. Again, the first adjutants in a protest movement rarely do have a coherent ideology because their aim is to get in as many people as possible. In order to do that, they can't be very specific about what they want, but we can be. So now there's a movement. Now people are galvanized, which means that now we turn out as libertarians as the only party of No Kings, and we tell people who we are and what No Kings means. So we have some language for you that you can use in signs. Great ideas from people were to have these
a flag.
We do have a flag. Well, we have a Death to Kingmaker's flag. We do have a Death to Kingmaker's flag, but we have, so people have suggested, it's a very, very smart idea, water bottles with this verbiage printed on it, and we're going to pull up some wording for you. That is not exactly what we are telling you to bring to the protest. However, Kyle does have screenshots of that as well. Water bottles and fans. Yes, I sent you the screenshots of the language that we need to pull up on the screen. We were talking about it several times.
Fans go this time of year. Yeah, people will be picking up fans like crazy. Like those go better than signs, I think.
They are very cheap, yes, to make. It's going to be very, very hot in the middle of July and in the beginning of July. Fans and water bottles. You hand people a fan with our language on it. You hand people a water bottle where the wrapping has our language on it. So there's one on one side of a fan, perhaps. Again, it doesn't need to look exactly like this. This is some language that you can use. Libertarian Party is the only party of No Kings. That is patently true. But what does No Kings mean? It means specific demands that Kyle can pull up. Doesn't it, Kyle?
Well, yes, but I was not going to show the rest of our Discord chat. So I was...
It's called pulling a screenshot. All right, there we go.
This became a horror show, ladies and gentlemen.
Free immigration, just wars, independent commerce.
The entire thing is nothing but pictures of Amanda's feet, I swear.
Due process and civil So these
Wait,
have
what channel is it that I'm currently locked out of that I don't have access to?
these are
Just the
clear,
straight to me and Amanda.
specific demands that
You hear that,
we are
Amanda?
using.
Rose would be one of your OnlyFans feet watchers.
Kyle, it is damaging when people are in a segment that's trying to review messaging and it keeps getting broken up. All right. End mass deportations and defund ICE. These have to be clear demands, specific ones. Repeal the War Powers Act, abolish the imperial presidency and end offensive wars. Repeal all tariffs and corporate subsidies, destroy agricultural and medical cartels. For those of you who don't know, the Affordable Care Act outlaws doctor-owned hospitals. No, you can only have corporate hospitals under the Affordable Care Act. Agricultural cartels, same thing. The corn subsidies, that is what is going to make America healthy again, is getting rid of these corn subsidies. Worker empowerment, if you prefer language like worker self-ownership, that is fine too. Sometimes worker empowerment strikes the wrong chord with people, but this is very important because a lot of the people who have been organizing the No Kings protests are big union people, like one big union style organization people. We need to disrupt the equivalence between big labor and worker empowerment. Often these two are antithetical to one another, as we well know. So end these union monopolies where private sector unions like UAW can dictate the speech of public sector workers, like graduate students. Repeal anti-democratic blocking charges against workers seeking alternative modes of organizing. For those of you who don't know, the NLRB is big labor's little bitch. And what the NLRB does, if a group of workers is trying to pursue an alternative method of bargaining, maybe a smaller union, maybe independent in-house organizing, and a big union doesn't like that, the workers need to take a vote on whether to end their contract. Sounds pretty fair. But the union, if the union doesn't like it, and why would they, gets to go to the NLRB bureaucrats and say, for any reason at all, they don't really have to give much cause, we don't want these workers to vote on disaffiliating from us. The NLRB blocks the vote. It can't happen. The workers are stuck. This is cronyism at its finest. We would not stand for it if this were a corporation. We wouldn't stand for it. We cannot stand for it if it's a big union, which is also just another corporation. Its product is the worker's speech, and its consumer is the worker. Due process, abolish all laws against victimless crimes, easy enough. Civil liberties, end qualified immunity, and the use of military force against civilians. These are demands that we're bringing to the No Kings protests all throughout the rest of the summer, July 4th, July 17th. We get this on signage, we have clear, consistent messaging, and we will tell the country what No Kings means. And No Kings means libertarianism, and No Kings is represented by the Libertarian Party, the only party of No Kings. So get out there, make relationships, hold up signs, give out fans, give out water bottles, and let's build some coalitions. Let's get some new members in, and let's make this our movement.
Yes. I've already had this argument with some like other libertarians. They're like, oh, well, the protests are currently dominated by the left. So what's even the point in showing up?
That is the point.
These are people who, like, a lot of these are people who could potentially be recruited to our cause if we could just get to them before other far left entities get to them. Like, yeah, knowing how to talk to the left is important. Like, okay, so here's a cheat for all of you guys. If you can convince them, or rather explain to them, how central banks are the ultimate instrument of class warfare, you can kind of start to get through to them. So a lot of them are blaming, like, they see the issues, they see the correct issues, they're angry about the correct things, but they're angry at the wrong targets. Like, if you can kind of start to get them, like, move them in the direction of learning economics and learning who's really screwing them over, like, yeah, this is a movement that we could potentially gain a foothold in.
Yeah.
I said something similar today, and I said, so all of you who want state communism, how would you feel if Donald Trump was perpetually in charge of that state communism? Would you still want state communism? Do you still think centralization is a good idea when the other guy has the codes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah, plant the
It's
idea
just
that,
a
hey,
way yeah, it's just another way that we're reminding them that government is not always used for the best possible.
right, it's not always going to be the right people in office. So yeah, these things that sound great, again, things like central banks, they can easily be turned into instruments of class warfare that leave you impoverished and a perpetual debt slave.
So
I just want to
there's
say I
another-
love Free's comments. I think Free makes great comments. I don't think Kyle shows them enough, and I don't think that's very fair. Free's very funny to me, and I have to beg Kyle behind the scenes to put up any of Free's comments. So there is that. And Free, I'm sorry. I'll try to do better at getting Kyle to put up your comments. Love you.
Free knows the truth. It's at the bottom right now.
I think you're hilarious, Free.
So there's a thing here. We've got the support the LPA sign up, and it's going still to the GoFundMe that we mentioned on Tuesday. The 527 is still not quite finished. And the thing that we are looking to do with some of that right now is to help get in touch with affiliates, to get the affiliates using the same messaging, and try to get boots on the ground across the country with this same messaging. It takes a lot of effort. It's like there's tons of phone calls to people. There's touching every affiliate statewide. If the state's not willing to go out and talk to its county affiliates or city affiliates, we have to go talk to them too. So, if you want to make that easier on us, give a donation. It's legitimately really needed to get things like this done.
And again, it's important to I'll say it, co-opt the language of this movement too. Because again, Rose brings up a good point. A lot of people brought up a good point. What if it's just another type of totalitarians at the top? Well, we don't want that. So the good news is they haven't given everyone an ideology to follow yet. We do. And we actually show people what no kings means. We tell them what no kings means. And we do that because it's hot and people are thirsty and they want fans. If as long as we keep doing this regularly, we keep doing this with consistent messaging, it does make a dent more than it would appear possible. Yeah, I mean, I think
and don't
that's
forget
hilarious,
to join.
Free. I think you're very funny.
And
What? I'm sorry?
Because I was going to say, don't forget to join if you're not already in the Discord, because
Right.
I see a bunch of people in here who are clearly very articulate. We could use you on the phones,
For sure.
Exactly.
I know everyone hates the phones. I shouldn't have said that.
I'm terrible.
Yeah,
at
if I'm
phones,
not
Joe,
saying-
sorry.
Everyone needs you to push other people to do the phones.
Right. Yes. Go and tell other people to get on the phones. Come in here and make people get on phones.
Yeah,
But,
see,
but
I'm
honestly,
not seeing
this
enough
is the time for networking. Go ahead,
join
Rose.
notifications. I like it when we're doing a stream and I'm seeing all these so-and-so joined the server notifications popping up as we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love you and thank you. All right. Did we cover our bases? Did we have a shot?
Do we want to talk about the torch?
Yeah, we jump at the torch.
Yeah.
So the torch is launching, and Sarah can jump in anytime. The torch
I
is
just did. Go ahead, Amanda.
The torch is launching on the 30th, and Sarah and I are editing it. But we do not want to be the only writers, because as brilliant as we are, and we want
You
a
okay if we give a sneak
multiplicity
peek?
of sure. We want a multiplicity of voices. This is not even a soft launch. This is just looking at the website that is under construction right now. So we are getting articles from people. They can be about anything. We have different categories. So we have party news. We have argument, which is kind of the debate section, or if you want to propose
We
something.
have dark mode.
We have dark mode. We have light mode. Kyle, show the good people light mode. Look at that.
For the autistic, they're both pretty, but one of them
No, they're
brings
not.
your eyes less if you're autistic like me.
We have libertarian thought, which is like theory, philosophy. You can do book reviews. You can do recommended reading. It doesn't have to be necessarily a libertarian book if it's got some kind of libertarian message or some reason you think libertarians should read it. Any type of news story with a libertarian twist on it. This is a movement journal. So it's broad, it's expansive, and we want to have your voices in here. We do have a lot of diverse voices in LP Alliance. We want more. So we're going to have, as you can see, featured videos, our video content on the left. And then we've got writing. We'd like art too. If you make art, send us some cartoons that might get printed. And again,
because if you
will
want,
probably
you can
also-
send us something so that Amanda can use things other than like basically AI vibe.
in
Please,
case you
please
guys,
send us stock photos, please.
Please
They're
do.
expensive.
in case you don't know, I am really bad with visual
Yes.
art and
Oh.
picking out photos. So this is going to be a running gag unless you all help. Yes. So
It's
we
just
need an
going to be
actual-
that one photo over and over and over.
We need a real artist because, yeah, I can only do just so much with PixArt.
Yes. But to submit an article or anything, you can join the Discord. You can message me or you can message Sarah, or you can send a Google Doc or Microsoft
I've got
Word
admin on
document
everything.
via
Do I get it brought in? No,
DM.
of course not.
No, you don't. You can also email
I'm going to kick Amanda off her own site.
Limericks
Amanda at
will be for the
lp-alliance.com. Sorry.
We knew we had created a monster.
I'll probably be starting, so I'll get up with you free about your limericks.
There we go.
Once was a girl from Nantucket.
Who kept all her cash in a bucket?
I'm sure that's where she kept it.
I'm sorry, is that what you guys
Normally
were
we keep it
expecting?
in here.
There once was a man from Nantucket who kept all his cash in a bucket. His daughter named Nan ran off with the man and asked for the bucket in Nantucket.
Yeah, see,
Come
we're a family-
on!
This is a family-friendly stream, people. Okay, were you expecting a different poem?
Oh, I've got many.
Oh God, there's a topic we should discuss. Did you guys? Not now because we're getting ready to tone down, but maybe next week we could talk about the LPNH's table at PorcFest and the controversy surrounding the nudity section. That might be, maybe that's something for LPA or for LP Live. I don't know.
Haven't they always, like, didn't they have, like, a naked
So it
Olympics?
shrunk this year. Yeah, they're not doing anything like that this year because they want to make it more family friendly, which I guess is okay, except that, obviously it's for the FSP families. Because, other families, someone put in the comments, first thing, even in nudist resorts where there are kids allowed and they're around because that's, their natural estate or whatever, sexual activity is very much frowned upon. And I went, so why did you make the area smaller and just not make sure the rules were enforced? Can we just, I don't know. It's too late in the show to get into it now, but I feel like that is a out there libertarian conversation that we should be
I feel like
having.
I missed something.
It's
and
all right.
yeah.
I don't believe in the nuclear family anyhow, so there's that.
I don't
He
think
does
I
believe
heard
in
most
nuclear.
of this.
Commies. We're all a bunch of commies.
Exactly. I'm a dirty, rotten commie, and that's on the album as well. All right, everyone. It's been wonderful. On Saturday, we are having a stream about Stonewall, so check that out. We're doing our Tuesday Solidarity streams, and we always, of course, have our business list on Thursdays as well. That's the programming that I know of presently. We will again be sharing that language with you, the protest demonstration rhetoric, to again to streamline things and help you stop.
We're gonna say anarchy.
I really like that.
And we're gonna say anarchy. Full transparency. Now I wanna say anarchists on the business list.